Hey YouTube, on top of Great League, there is a little Galar Cup. I don't expect many people to play this for two reasons. One, I think everyone's going to be excited about the Open Great League. And two, this thing is actually on next week as well, when the Ultra League is on. So I think more people will play it then. Unfortunately, this is not a great meta. Uh, unfortunately, right off the bat, the little Galar Cup has Shuckle and Bronzer. And what is the problem with these two Pokemon? Well, as you can see with the XL beside their names, you're going to look at the stat products here and very quickly see what the problem is. An insane 345 defense on this for a 780 overall stat product on Shuckle. And Bronzer, 134, 130 defensive stamina for 657 overall. So 750, 657. And here we go with the rest of them. Perleon, 359. Sorry. Perleon, 359. Mandibuzz, 466. Even an XL besides Zigzagoon is still 459. So stat product wise, they're already far and above everyone else. And when you have that much of a stat product advantage, especially in the Little Cup, it makes a huge difference, right? Because a lot of these Pokemon, the thing with the Little Cup is if you've never played Little Cup before, all these sort of like other Pokemon, Barbosh, Whiscash, Scroopy, Drifloon, all these sort of Pokemon here, any sort of neutral move does about 50+%. And then it's just like you're good taking it the next time around. And these moves come quick because a lot of these Pokemon have fast moves here, right? So Mudshot Barbosh, Poison Sting Drapion, Karate Chop Machop now, Fury Cutter and Pawniard. Astonish that now got buffed, right? So a lot of these Pokemon throw fast but don't hit super hard, but everything's so glassy that it's just like one move does 50%, the next move does 50%. You're kind of throwing quickly and taking each other out. Not with Shuckle and Bronzer. Those XLs and the amount of bulk that they have with these XLs is quite high, which makes them just so far above everyone else. So I was trying to actually put top teams together. And when you try and put top teams together on PVPoke, they're always going to default back to two Pokemon that otherwise still dominate the meta, right? So if you look at Bronzers, so let's look at Shuckle as the top ranked Pokemon, 17-5 record in the meta in the one shield, 600 average in Bronzer, a little less, 10-12. This yes, that record looks bad and that average looks bad. It plays way better than that. The only sort of thing this time around is that there's a lot more Dark and Ghost than there was in the past. And that is because Sucker Punch, Astonish, all got buffed. So a lot of these Pokemon that did not have much play before now have a lot more play. So perhaps you'll see a lot less Bronzer. And it is tricky-ish to get Shuckle. But what do we do with this? So if you have these two Pokemon, you're probably just going to pair them together. I've seen viewers submit battles that do it like that. If not, what I do is, again, if you know my team building style, you have three options when these cups come around. You go meta, you go counter meta, or you go counter meta. So meta would be Shuckle, Bronzer, and a third. Pick your third, doesn't matter. Mandibuzz, Barbosh, Whiscash, Drapion, Diggersby, they all kind of fit the bill. What I would do is I would go to these Pokemon and look at their losses and see if anything comes up. Now, what you're going to see is, yes, this is a win against Diggersby, but 523, and then Bronzer, Diggersby is very close to the top here, which means Diggersby is basically going to combo both. And why is that? Well, because Bronzer is half steel, so it's weak to ground and fire, which it has Fire Punch, and Shuckle is half rock. So the bug does neutralize it, but that's still just a good move. Plus, you are ground. More importantly, you are ground. So Rock Throw, Stone Edge, Rock Blast is all resisted, right? So hitting super effective against Bronzer, resisting all the Shuckle move, puts Diggersby up the list, in my opinion. So what we're just going to do is just going to go through other Pokemon that I think, again, this meta is going to be like 12 Pokemon, if that. So we're just going to go through these Pokemon about what makes them strong. Shuckle, Bronzer, I've already talked about their strengths. One thing about Bronzer I did not cover is it has an insane amount of resistances, right? double resist Psychic and Poison, single resist Steel, Rock, Normal, Ice, Grass, Flying, Fairy, and Dragon. So it is weak to Dark, Ghost, Ground, and Fire, which there's now more of. And this is what you're starting to see. You didn't see this list here before. That is because Sucker Punch on Purrleon is buffed. Mandibuzz was always kind of one. I think a lot of people used Volibee before, but Mandibuzz, I guess this is a little cup, but it's not a like a little pre-evolution cup, because sometimes in these little cups you're only allowed to use like the baby versions, the first evolution, but this one's not that way, so you can use the evolution. But now we get that, and then looks like Zigzagoon got a boosted, not a boosted, but like a buffed Swift. And Zigzagoon was kind of always in it because it was the dark as well. That kind of just deals with Bronzer. So a bunch of rise up from dark type Pokemon. Barbosh has always been on here. And I see Whiscash is right below it. Funny. Basically, they're probably going to have Sima 387. I'm guessing Whiscash may be a little more in the stat product, because it's evolved. Yeah, 394 in the stat product compared to 387. So what's the main difference? The main difference is on top of the... I know, they're both Mud Boys. The main difference is Mudshot, Aqua Tail, Mud Bomb, Mudshot, Scald, Mud Bomb. So with the Aqua Tail and Barbosh, you're getting to it 2 times 2 Mudshots quicker than the Whiscash is getting to the Scald. And like I've mentioned at the beginning of this video, you're very rarely going to see 1 move KO here, and it's almost all the time you're going to see 2 moves KO. So you're probably going double Aqua Tail or slash Mud Bomb most cases with Barbosh and being able to take it out that way, as opposed to needing to get to like the Scald on Whiscash. Drapion with the Poison Sting buff, and Scroopy. Okay, so now you're getting the baby versions and I just keep calling them baby versions, the first evolution and above. So Scroopy, first evolution, Poison Sting, Aqua Tail, Cross Poison. Drapion, Poison Sting, Aqua Tail, Crunch. I'm guessing this is where stat product probably makes a little difference on the other. And 430, oh no, 360 for Drapion. I guess it's just Crunch versus Cross Poison. What are the stats on Crunch? 45 energy, 84 damage, 1.87. And Cross Poison's probably not as hard hitting of a move. No, it's only 35 for 60. Right? So that's the problem with Scroopy. It's just Aqua Tail and Cross Poison, 55 and 60 damage. Again, when these moves are still in 50%, it's not bad to have something that spams this quickly, but Crunch gives you a little more oomph. There, Machop and Machoke up here with Karate Chop now. Pawniard was like, Pawniard was like one of the main darks. So again, look at how many darks are now added on here. Pawniard, Umbreon, and Scrafty at 14, 17, 19. So this thing is filled with darks. And so I'm surprised Cottony with all these darks is so low now. I'm pretty sure I saw Cottony on this list. Yeah, 45 as the charm user. So history time. Shuckle was actually banned in the Little Cup forever. Bronzer was not. In fact, Bronzer was on 95% of teams in the Little Cup because it was just so strong. So much for the fact that they had to give it payback because the mirror matches were brutal. Because in the mirror matches, you had a resisted fast move in Tackle or Confusion, and then resisted Heavy Slam and payback because you are half Steel and half Psychic, half Steel. So everything was resisted here. So they actually had to give this thing payback to make these Little Cup matches not take forever. So that was a history, and there was basically a triangle of Pokemon. It was Bronzer that resisted everything. Then you had these Darks back in the day, like Zigzagoon and Pawniard, to try and deal with Bronzer because it's half Psychic. And then you had Cottony to deal with the Darks. And it was just a triangle. So now you have Shuckle in the mix there. You have more options for Dark. Yeah, part of the problem with Pawniard was you needed to like trade it with someone. Because hatching from eggs would not allow you to get one below what you needed, so you need to like trade it with someone. And now they've buffed a bunch of dark Pokemon here as well. So more dark Pokemon to deal with Bronzer, which is a pro. Shuckle still seems to be roaming pretty free, but one of its main losses is to Bronzer, right? So Again, Bronzer's half steel, so it resists every single move here. And this thing is actually weak to steel as well. So being able to hit heavy slam super effective and resist all the moves is the way to is huge, right? So what are we going to see? We're going to see Shuckle, we're going to see Bronzer, we're going to see Darks to deal with Bronzer, we're going to see ground Pokemon like Diggersby, Whiscash, and Barboche to kind of deal with both, because both are going to have problems with ground. Like I said, Bronzer is weak to ground, and Shuckle, Rock Throw, and all the Rock type moves are resisted by ground. So that's why all these grounds are so high up. Drapion and Scroopy were just kind of like your very spammy Pokemon. Machop and Machoke are now your main fighters in this meta, with Karate Chop being one of the best moves in the game. And there is Drifloon. Drifloon also has a good matchup against Bronzer because, again, you're half Ghost, so hitting super effective against the Psychic. And you can do pretty well against most neutral things here, but yes, we'll see how many Darks there are. As a Ghost, it's kind of scary to play when you see so many Darks, but Astonish is buff, so we may see it more. And I really don't need to go down any lower because, yeah, you can go Pangoro, Machamp as well. Probably don't have as much. You're losing bulk here, right? Because you have like the same moves, but less bulk. So Machop and Machoke are ranked higher instead of Machamp because you just do not have the levels and HP to go with it. But like, yeah, when you get down to like Wooper, always kind of had play, but when you get down to like 40, Dino actually had a lot of play too as your Dragon Breath user against your other Darks. So if you have a Dark Pokemon with mostly Dark moves, having a Dragon Breath user with Body Slam is pretty good. Body Slam is nerfed though. So, and Wynut down at 42, again, Wynut was actually one of the top ones too, doing all right against Bronzer. But now too many Darks and too many Ghosts in this meta for it to be ranked high. So it is down. So basically, you're gonna get the, again, meta, anti-meta, anti-anti-meta, or just kind of safe. Shuckle and Bronzer, top tier there. And then if you want to counter that, you're gonna go Dark and Ground. Pick your combo, how you want to build it, 2 and 1 or whatever. And then you can also go like what I would call safe. For my opinion, what safe is going to be your grounds, Barboche, Whiscash, your poisons, Drapion, Scroopy, so ground and Diggersby as well. I'm torn. And fighters are interesting, right? Because this thing is, well, it's half bug, so it actually neutralizes the fighting. It's half rock, half bug, so it neutralizes the fighting. But you resist, as a fighter, you resist the rock stuff here too, which wouldn't be too bad. And then this thing is now, Bronzer's saying run Tackle, Payback, and Heavy Slam. So you'd have to take the Heavy Slams, or you'd have probably Shield because that would hurt. But I don't know. We'll see. The good news is I don't need to play this week. And neither do you. You have an open Great League, which should be played by everyone. I mean, if you want to play it, go for it. If you have a Bronzer and Shuckle and you want to grind the first week of the season, go for it. I don't think that's the best strategy. If you want my honest opinion, you in the early weeks of GBL should be testing every single one of these new Pokemon to get a feel for how to use them, to see which one do you think are going to be meta moving forward. Now, I'm going to do that, and I'm going to give you the Beyond the Hype analysis of these Pokemon anyways, so you can just watch the videos. But for me, grinding the first 2 weeks ain't not the way to do it. Plus, Great League is going to be on 7 more times this season sort of thing. So I probably want to learn how to play with those Pokemon for later in the season when I am grinding, as opposed to just like playing a limited cup, which I could dominate. Like if this limited cup was later in the season, like if it was a little cup with like 3 or 4 weeks left in the season and I had Shuckle and Bronzer, yeah, I'm probably grinding the heck out of it, trying to hit Legend with these Pokemon. But first couple weeks, I just don't think it's the right place for it right now. Honestly, I think that's my biggest concern with it. But if you want to take a look at the top Great League teams with new Pokemon, video this morning, and we are going to do all the new buff Pokemon this week. So hit that subscribe button and don't miss out on those. Anyways, that is it. Thanks for watching. See you guys in the next one.